All right, welcome to this new season of the Podrick Paynecast.
The Podrick Paynecast. What's up? I'm Geoff.
I'm Jayme, and today we are going to be getting into the first episode, Dragonstone. We've been waiting a very long time for this.
Season 7.
And I must say I was not disappointed at all.
I was not disappointed at all. Either. That cold opening, oh my god.
Yeah, let's jump right in then. The cold opening with Arya, totally unexpected. When it first started happening, I thought it was for sure a flashback, seeing Walder Frey again. And, a few lines into his dialogue, it was pretty obvious that we were listening to Arya. What did you think of that?
Well, I also, at first I thought it was a flashback, so I wasn't totally sure what was going on. And then slowly everybody in the room just started like, oh, this is definitely Arya, right? Something's going down right here. Like, I think we all expected something would happen, but I didn't expect initially that it was going to be Arya.
Yeah, and while it was awesome, there are a couple questions I kind of want to know about that scene. Is, where did Arya get all the poison from? That's kind of weird. And also, the whole, if there's, magic involved with the whole faceless man thing, because she seems to be pretty good at making her own disguises now.
Yeah, that was insane. I don't know, do they use magic or... Well, obviously they do, but we don't really know how. It's just kind of interesting seeing her pull the face off. What I want to know is what happened to all the prisoners that they were holding at the twins. Like, where's her uncle? And
sure, I was going to say Edmure Tully is supposed to be there.
There's a bunch of other people being hidden there. Various Lords of the North.
Maybe Arya will release them next episode.
Yeah. Well, that's for sure. Arya's not taking any shit this season.
Yeah, she's on a mission, and I know we're going to talk about the scenes for the next episode after we're all done talking about this, but we saw a wolf appear in the previews for the next episode, and it definitely was not Ghost, and all the other wolves are dead, so...
Yeah, process of elimination.
Hopefully Nymeria will make her return.
So, obviously, we're going to have to talk about this, right? The Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, we might as well get into Ed Sheeran. I loved it. I'm a big Ed Sheeran fan myself. He's got an amazing voice. I think the scene was well done, and it served its purpose, which was to kind of humanize the Lannister army and make it seem like, they aren't all vicious killers like Cersei. Also, what I think that's doing, it's going to make us have a little... or just feel bad for them when Daenerys eventually does go take over Casterly Rock, which we saw in the previews for the new season.
Which we assume is going to happen unless something really messed up happens.
Yeah.
I also saw something that I'll point out later as we preview the next episode.
All right. So yeah, Arya, Ed Sheeran, it was an awesome scene. I loved how when they were like, oh, what are you going to King's Landing for? She's without hesitation is like, I'm going to kill the queen. Which to me is kind of disappointing because I'm a huge Cersei fan.
Yeah, go back to the north. That's where we want you.
Yeah, I
with Jon
completely thought she was going to meet up with her family, but looks like she's crossing names off of her list.
Yeah.
All right. And then, so that was pretty much all of Arya's part. In the north, there's some stuff going on in the north. We got a little sibling rivalry going on here.
Yeah.
I must say how Sansa Stark is banging hot in the new episode too.
Yeah, she doesn't look too bad.
And she's also not afraid to speak her mind anymore. And
no, is that a good thing though for Jon?
I mean, I think it could be. I mean, look at the other. Look at Ned Stark. Look at Robb Stark. They didn't really listen to their counselors, and they ended up with both of their heads getting chopped off. So
I do think Sansa has good intentions, but I do not know if she's as smart as she thinks she is. I also am not sure if she's, if I think she's that smart. We'll see what happens because you can't really expect anything. We'll see. We could be underestimating Littlefinger here.
Definitely, and that little exchange they had when they were observing Brienne train with Podrick
Payne.
Yeah, they had this little back and forth thing where he comes up and is like, I heard he defeat Loras Tyrell in single combat, or the Hound, and then they're having a conversation, and then Sansa kind of goes back on it and is like, you don't need to get in the last word. I'll just assume it was something clever. And a lot of the people I talked to that watched the episode were all thinking, wow, that was such a burn. Sansa is like totally owning Littlefinger. I totally don't buy it. I think Littlefinger knows exactly what he's doing. He's just waiting for the opportune moment.
He does, and I think Sansa, if she's going to play that game, she needs to be more careful about not tipping her cards. Like, this isn't high school. Like, these people are dangerous, and she knows that, but I think that was just a little added drama for the TV show effect there.
Yeah, maybe. We'll go back to that scene in the north where Jon is kind of taking oaths of fealty from House Umber and House Karstark, who are now led by children. Children that aren't...
makes 3 child Northern Lords.
Yeah, unluckily for us, the 2 new children aren't nearly as badass as Lyanna Mormont is.
At least we don't know yet. But they would have to be doing some really badass stuff, too.
Yeah, they got a lot to live up to, where that comes from. So then in that whole situation, what did you think about Sansa suggesting that they give those castles to loyal families rather than pass them on to the Umbers and Karstarks?
I don't think it's a bad... I mean, I think we all kind of were expecting that, weren't we? Like, all of my speculation on the internet when I was in the off-season, we were all speculating who gets what house and castle, so I wasn't really expecting Jon to disagree there. But I think Sansa has a good point, but at the same time, you need to build loyalty with houses, and I think showing that that he honors the Stark traditions goes a long way into inspiring leadership. From the other houses. Showing his leadership over the other houses. And that he's just. And
I've kind of noticed this theme just in this one episode, that it's like, for the whole entire length of the series, pretty much all the power in all the houses has been held by older men, older soldiers that were brought up during Robert's Rebellion. And now all of them are almost gone. So we're getting a new, era of leadership in Westeros, and it's all by the younger generation, which I think will turn out to be really cool.
It's funny, I was having a conversation with one of my friends last night. We were world building, and she mentioned how her husband said that generals don't lead battles. And I thought about that because that really resonated with me, because when you think about Game of Thrones, you have different types of generals. Like Tywin Lannister, he would never be on the front lines fighting the battles with, the soldiers, but Jon is.
And Robb Stark was as
and
well.
Robb Stark was too. That shows a huge difference in decision making. If you're the one on the front lines, fighting with the battles, with the rest of the soldiers, you're definitely going to be putting more, you're going to be careful. If you're going to be the one putting those plans out, you're not going to send people to their death so easily,
Yeah. And then, after they have this whole meeting or whatever, Sansa and Jon kind of have a private conversation. It's kind of they're bickering back and forth almost. Sansa is saying, you should listen to me. I've learned a lot. And Jon's don't speak over me when we're talking. I thought it was really cool when she was kind of telling him, she was counseling him, and she even gives a little homage to Cersei in her speech, hey, I learned a lot from her. She's a crazy bitch, but, I can be a crazy bitch too.
Her hair, too, is kind of the same.
I'm
surprised. Early Cersei, early seasons.
Yeah, I'm surprised she, hasn't grown her hair back out. Honestly, I'm not digging the whole, short hairstyle. It makes her and Jayme look super creepy. But
maybe that was intentional.
Yeah.
No, she changed all the Kingsguard armor, too, and everything.
I'm definitely digging her new wardrobe. Her queen outfit is freaking baller, and the new Kingsguard armor is baller as well. It's black and it just looks badass. It doesn't look all gold and sparkly and white.
Yeah. I wonder if Jon is gonna. You think he's gonna put together his own Kingsguard, or what do you think? Is it just gonna be Ghost?
I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't at this point, because a lot of the other kings or wannabe kings on the show have formed Kingsguard almost immediately, besides Stannis is the only one I can think of that didn't really have one. But not Loras Tyrell, Renly Baratheon was making his Kingsguard like the second he became king.
Even Rob had a Kingsguard, though. They didn't really say it much in the TV show. But
Was Theon a part of it?
Theon might have been a part of it. I know 2 of the Karstark sons were, because in the Battle of the Whispering Wood, Jayme tried to kill Rob, and he cut it was his personal guard. They didn't call it the Kingsguard, but yeah, he totally did have a Kingsguard for sure. Rob.
And what about Dany? Do you think she's gonna have like a Queen's Guard? She kind of did for a little bit, but they're both
she has
gone
dragons.
now. Yeah, I guess that's her.
She doesn't need a Kingsguard. She has 3 dragons.
Speaking of the dragons, a lot of the people I've been talking to who are trying to make predictions about the season are, a lot of people are saying that they think a dragon is going to die. I really hope a dragon will not die. I've also heard rumors about White Walker dragons. What do you think about that?
I think those are both good, excellent points of something that could possibly happen. But I don't know. Is that something that's going to happen this season? That sounds pretty big. I did hear rumblings on the internet of people who worked on the dragon CGI, that some crazy stuff went down. So there's definitely something is going to happen. Do you think, I don't know, maybe Jon Snow becomes the second dragon rider, maybe?
Well, I mean, that's always been my hope, is that Dany, Jon, and Tyrion would eventually ride dragons together, the 3-headed dragon theory, which kind of got a little more confirmed when we learned Jon Snow's true parentage. But Tyrion is kind of a mystery. Not completely, though, because we did see him walk into the dragon lair or whatever in Meereen, and the dragons were totally interactive with him and respected him and, let him, give them their freedom.
There was also some foreshadowing in, I think it was season 1, when he gave plans for a saddle to Bran Stark for tiny people. That could have been, possible foreshadowing that he's going to become a dragon rider and, make his saddle.
Dany doesn't need a saddle.
No, she's just badass.
All right, so let's jump down to King's Landing and talk about the baddest bitch ever, Cersei Lannister. Queen Cersei Lannister, protector of the realm, queen of the, whatever, titles.
Purveyor of fine artisanal maps painted on giant floors.
I really liked the map. I thought it was a nice touch. The details in it was really awesome. And I like how she was observing the guy finishing it or whatever. And then Jayme walks up. And we've known since the end of season 6 that Jayme is not too happy with Cersei. But right now there's really not a lot that he can do about it.
No, honestly, he's kind of looking not too confident right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, which I think personally is going to lead to the fulfillment of the last part of Cersei's prophecy eventually. But yeah, so they're talking about all the enemies they have. They've got a ton of enemies. She says she's the ruler of the 7 kingdoms, and Jayme rebuttals with maybe 3, at
3
best,
at best,
if you're lucky.
yeah.
Which
What
is
3?
true.
What is that? The Crownlands,
Iron
the Westerlands,
Islands.
not the Iron Islands yet, not yet, and
Crownlands,
Stormlands, I guess.
Westerlands, and I mean,
Even though there's nobody really left in the Stormlands. Shout out to Gendry. Where the fuck are you?
yeah, I've been hearing rumors, Gendry. Spoiler alert. It's just rumors, but I hope he comes back because he's been rowing forever.
He must be pretty ripped by now. I was half expecting him just to be chilling in Dragonstone.
With
It's like when
Melisandre.
Daenerys walked in, just nobody there.
Well, in the promo photos for the season, there was a shot of Melisandre at Dragonstone, watching people walk up towards the castle, and I was very surprised we didn't see that scene in the first episode. So where the fuck is Melisandre?
Possibly, I know they didn't plan on having the cold opening at the beginning. It's possible they might have shifted some things around to make that happen, maybe.
It could. And, Euron Greyjoy. So Cersei and Jayme are talking about how they don't really have any allies, and Cersei is like, well, you know what? I got Euron Greyjoy and 1,000 ships and his big cock.
That was fucking fast.
It was fast, but
1,000 ships. Maybe he didn't build them. Maybe he stole them. He didn't say he built them. Who knows?
I mean, he did command them to build them at the end of season 6, so I'm guessing they all built them. Time passes kind of weirdly in Game of Thrones, I've noticed. We've seen Varys kind of jump around from continent to continent in the span of 10 minutes.
Especially Littlefinger of all.
Yeah, Littlefinger
And its
does
teleportation.
too. just like jumping from the Vale to Winterfell, like just in time for the Battle of the Bastards. It's a little fishy, but it makes for good TV, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, Euron Greyjoy.
What'd you think of his new outfit and his new persona? This is kind of the most we've really gotten to see Euron. Really, last season we didn't see him that much.
I'm still kind of upset that he doesn't have an eye patch, but I'm calling it right now. He's going to lose an eye before the end of the season.
That would be badass. Maybe via Theon or Asha.
Or yeah.
Yara, sorry. Asha is what they call her in the books. It's Yara, yeah.
So yes, he wants to marry Cersei, and he has that awesome line where he says, "I've got 1,000 ships and 2 good hands." And then you just see Jayme just like, oh, damn, like burned. But anyways.
Burnt to crisps.
Do you think Cersei will marry him? And what do you think his gift is going to be?
I think his gift is going to be one of the Sand Snakes, or all of them. Basically Dorne. But also, spoiler warnings, I saw him in the preview for the next episode, like being like cheered by Lannisters, so I don't know. It wouldn't have happened that fast, I don't think.
Hopefully it's a sand snake or a Laria Sand, because I'm sorry for the language, but
I hate the sand snakes.
I hate those
really
bitches.
Don't care.
I hope they die. Also, in the books, he has the, I think it's a horn that has like the power
the dragon
to control
horn,
dragons.
Yeah, the dragon binding horn.
Yeah. So that could also be a gift. That would be a pretty badass gift, but at the same time,
They didn't really foreshadow that really at all in the show, though.
Yeah, I feel like that's more of a book thing. We also haven't heard about the Horn of Winter either, which was kind of in the books as well.
The Horn of Joramun. But Sam did bring a horn to the, We'll talk about that later as we get to further in the episode, though.
So yeah, Euron is going off to find that gift. Could they be could they be a power threat to Dany, do you think?
Euron? I don't know.
Euron with the full Lannister army. I mean, Dany's got quite the force behind her right now. But, I mean, if Cersei has any hope, she's going to have to, I don't know, marry him, I guess. Jaime's not going to be very happy about that.
Say he has 1,000 ships now, right? So he probably has maybe like 100 people per ship. So he probably has like 10,000 Iron Islanders. Westerlands, they probably have anywhere between 15 to 20,000 troops, but that's pretty much it. The Freys are gone. They don't have any other allies, that's pretty much it. That's really not much. So, and considering that the Vale itself has like 17,000, troops, and then Dany has the Dothraki and the,
Unsullied.
The Unsullied, yeah, I don't know. It's looking pretty bad in King's Landing, even with Euron's help.
Do you think that Cersei is aware of Littlefinger helping out the North? Because last they were communicating, they were still allies.
I don't know, but she's not stupid. She would obviously know that he disappeared. And I remember last season, no, she totally knows, because last season, when Littlefinger was trying to, hook up with Sansa, he's like, I publicly committed my name and the Vale to your house. So, like, he for sure is like, but it's interesting they didn't mention Littlefinger at all, or the Vale. You would think they would mention that.
Especially, like, Cersei's not one to just kind of, like, let that kind of stuff slide. Like,
no, not at all.
She's going to get revenge.
Unless she's slipping, who knows? If she's slipping, she's definitely slipping. How much, though, we'll see.
Hopefully not very far. I want her to last until at least the last season. Do you think she has wildfire left?
There's definitely wildfire left. Does she know where it is? I don't know. She apparently knows how to make it, though. Or
she had the pyromancers making it for her back in season 2. And I mean, I'm pretty sure all the wildfire that was under the Sept of Baelor was put there by the Mad King. And I'm pretty sure he also put it underneath the Red Keep and, underneath Flea Bottom and all the different areas of the city. So whether she knows that or not, I'm not sure.
Well, she knew about all of it put under the Sept of the Baelor, because so she blew up the Sept of the Baelor.
Yeah, she did know about that, which was still fucking awesome. Yeah, so King's Landing, some shit going on there.
Overall, just not looking good in King's Landing, so yeah.
I was rewatching, I attempted a full rewatch in like a month before the season 7 started. I didn't make it all the way, I only made it to about season 4, but one of Bran's prophecies. One of the first ones he has where it was actually the first one where he like connected with a weirwood tree. And it showed like one of the things he saw was like the shadow of a dragon flying over King's Landing. So, I mean, if that's going to happen at all, it's probably going to happen pretty soon. So yeah, King's Landing, shit's going down. Let's go to the Wall. We have Bran and Mira. Mira's got to be freaking ripped as hell now, too.
Yeah, she's building her core muscles up.
It took two people to drag Bran into the Wall. It took two men of the Night's Watch, but yet Mira somehow drug him along the entire way. It was a pretty short scene. I think we got to see Dolorous Ed again, which is always a pleasure. I like Dolorous Ed.
Second only to Podrick Payne in terms of unexpected badassness.
What was interesting, I thought, is the how they verified their identities. Mira said that she's Mira Reed, son of Howland Reed. This is Brandon, son of Ned Stark. And they're like, well, how do we know it's you? Oh, you've seen the Night King. You were at the Fist of the First Man. You were at Hardhome. And then he was like, all right, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, you could have easily just said, like, John's my brother. I feel like that would have been good enough.
It's just Ed's luck, too, that he would be the person to possibly let somebody with the curse to break down the wall pass the wall, too. He has the worst luck. I'm not saying that's confirmed. I'm just saying that's a theory.
I was really worried about that. Well, like, when he did go in there, I was like, is the wall going to freaking get destroyed right now? But, I mean, it's all good for now, but we only did see him just, cross that threshold. Also, a little part that we did kind of skip, that awesome scene that just shows the White Walker army just, marching, and we get the revelation that, they can make White Walker giants as well, or giant whites, as you will. That's pretty terrifying. It's pretty hard to kill them already, so, if they have giants on their side, like, holy crap.
Well, in the books, they had more than just giants. They had giant ice spiders. Basically, anything that was alive could be resurrected and put dragons. In their bears and stuff. Cold Hands actually rode an undead, like, reindeer, and Cold Hands Benjen.
Yes.
So there's tons of undead creatures that they're going to have to fight. It's not just humans and, giants, apparently. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's a terrifying prospect. A lot of the people I talk to have, a lot of people think that this season is going to be, very White Walker heavy, on that subject. And, the promo, the actual official photo for this season is the Night King. I think we'll see a fair amount of White Walker action, but I don't think that's going to be the main point of this season. I think that's going to be kind of like season 8. I think this season we're going to get to see all the main players kind of in their end games, kind of finishing the game.
Kind of like the sides kind of solidifying almost.
Yeah. And we're seeing a lot of people, we're going to be seeing a lot of people cross paths that haven't in a long time or have never before. A lot of interactions that I'm looking forward to. I want to see what Jon Snow says to Theon if they ever meet again. That will be interesting. And just Jon and Dany meeting.
Yeah, I mean, that's not really a spoiler. I mean, technically it is, but it's all kind of, foreshadowed to the point where it's pretty much going to happen. There's probably going to be some sort of interaction between Cersei and Jon, maybe, or maybe Cersei and Dany. Maybe Cersei and Tyrion would be interesting, really interesting. I mean, there's never really battles without some sort of negotiation before, so.
Yeah.
Hopefully there'll be some badass awkward negotiation scene.
I don't see Cersei or Tyrion leaving that room alive if they were to interact, or one of them at least.
Well, Cersei's not really in a position to be making demands unless, I don't know, Clegane Bowl or something happens.
Clegane Bowl, we've been talking about this for a year now. Thought for sure it was going to happen last season. I thought for sure. I was talking to somebody today that said they still think it's going to happen. As soon as next episode, and I'm like, I don't think that's realistic because they're on opposite sides of the country right now.
Yeah, and plus he's going, Sandor's going north.
Yeah, so we're talking about the Hound now. We might as well talk about those scenes with him and the Brotherhood Without Banners.
Although I don't call him the Hound anymore. I think he's Sandor again.
Oh, he's always the Hound.
I'm just saying he overcame what he used to be and significantly, like bettering himself. And I think, spiritually, he's kind of Sandor again.
I love the callback to season 4, I believe it was, when him and Arya, they took shelter from this man and his daughter. They fed him the rabbit stew, which they rabidly ate. So they were starving. Just
Stew.
the simple lines, like maybe they've got some ale hidden away, and Sandor's like, they don't. Like he's been there before, and right when they enter the house, like everybody's running around looking for food, looking for gold, and he immediately just sees the the dead man and his dead daughter, and they kind of explain what happened.
They'll be dead by the time winter comes.
Yeah, and he was completely right. They are.
But did that have anything to do with him stealing all their silver?
I don't think it did necessarily. Like he was just right. Like he knew what was going to happen, and he feels bad for it because he's basically taken advantage of these people twice now.
Yeah.
I am super, super glad to see Beric Dondarrion and Thoros of Myr again. They were characters I didn't think that I was ever going to see again.
I love those guys. Everybody was like so sad that Lady Stoneheart's not in the show and everything, but honestly, I'm kind of preferring Beric and Thoros over Lady Stoneheart right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, Beric had to like give his life to resurrect Catelyn Stark.
You think that'll happen with the Hound? Maybe Azor Ahai, he'll die and then he'll sacrifice his life to resurrect him.
I've heard so many Azor Ahai theories now. Like it's Jon Snow, it's Davos. I even heard that it was Jayme. Yeah, like I could be anybody at this
Sir
point.
Pounce.
Podrick. We'll have Podrick be Azor Ahai.
Podrick is Podrick Payne. Pod the Rod.
Yeah, so I mean, the Hound has always been afraid of fire or whatever, and you see him, bury the dead man and his daughter. Thoros of Myr kind of goes out there to see what's going on, helps him bury him, and the Hound even tries to say like a prayer to the Seven, doesn't even remember it. So Thoros, I think, kind of made this connection, like, hey, he's regretting his actions and he really wants to make up for it. So he tells him to look into the flames. And he sees some pretty crazy shit. I wish we could also see it, because I've always been curious as to what it actually looks like.
I like how they kind of didn't go all like CGI and that. They kind of like left it very realistically. Like it's up to your interpretation as the viewer as to how he experienced it.
Yeah. I didn't really believe it at first either until Stannis looked into the flames. I think it was season 2. Melisandre makes him look into the flames.
Right.
And he really truly sees. And what he sees is he sees the army of the dead. He sees a castle. I think he's talking about Eastwatch by the Sea.
Or Winterfell. Maybe he's talking about a battle. Winterfell, Snow, or is that what she saw? She saw about it. Melisandre saw about it at Winterfell. Yeah. And she thought that was Stannis' battle at Winterfell. But it wasn't. It was Jon's.
He did have a battle at Winterfell. It just didn't turn out very well.
Yeah. I think they kind of separated those battles. I think there'll be one battle in the book, but there are 2 battles in the show.
Yeah, so the Hound, they're all Brotherhood Without Banners. They're all heading north, which is good because it's giving Jon more support. But yeah, and I'm trying to think of what happens next.
Then we go to the Citadel, right, with Sam.
The Citadel, yeah. Let's talk about Sam.
Well, that was technically before, but
we're
just kind of hopping around here.
The Shitadel.
The Shitadel.
Yeah, that was pretty disgusting. I feel really bad for Sam. But, he's doing his job. He's doing his part. He's, learning about the White Walkers. He found out about the Dragon Glass. I don't know if you noticed, one of the books he was looking at had a, super well-done illustration of the dagger.
I saw that.
That kind of, started
the cat's paw blade.
All of this, yeah. So, obviously, that dagger has a lot of history behind it. We know it's Valyrian steel and the handle.
Dragon bone.
Yeah, I was going to say the handle is made out of dragon bone. Yeah, so Sam is going to be learning a lot.
In the Entertainment Weekly promotional photos of the season, Arya
Stark.
Sorry, Arya Stark had the cat's paw blade.
Yeah, that was a little. I was surprised they did that. That's kind of messy on their part to kind of give that away. Because how is she going to get it? Who even has it now? So what I'm wondering, I think Littlefinger has it.
Littlefinger has to have it, I think.
Maybe
I'm trying to think. So Ned took it to King's Landing with the
Catelyn took it to King's Landing.
Catelyn. She gave it to Littlefinger?
Well, she took it out and was like, no, Varys had it and was like, I don't know whose blade this is. And then Littlefinger was like, wow, I actually know something that you don't. It's my blade. But it was stolen by Tyrion Lannister. Or it was won by Tyrion Lannister in a bet.
Ah.
And at that point, I'm pretty sure Littlefinger kept the blade. But we never really saw it after that. Also, something really cool in the Citadel, if you guys are Harry Potter fans, did you notice Professor Slughorn?
Yes, Professor Slughorn. And
yes.
the restricted section.
Yes, so good.
Sam going to be making some Horcruxes.
Yeah, that was really awesome. I actually didn't even notice, and like I was watching with some people
immediately
that it was Professor Slughorn, so that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. The Citadel. And
speaking of Professor Slughorn, or I guess he's the Archmaester, he seemed pretty casual about the whole invasion of the White Walkers.
He did. I don't know. I mean, he says that he believes Sam, but I mean, if he truly believes Sam, you'd think he would like be a little more serious about it. I just think that he believes that Sam believes himself. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
it's more credence to the theory about Bran possibly having the curse that breaks the wall's magic. Is the Archmaester kind of focused on how the wall is there to protect them and that it protected them through all the long nights before. So that's possibly a thing that could go awry here. That makes it different than other times.
And also at the Citadel, we got our first glimpse of Sir Friendzone, Jorah Mormont.
Yeah,
and
speaking
his
of
grayscale covered arm.
Not unexpected, but unprecedented meetups.
Yeah, Sam and Jorah, I definitely never thought they would ever interact. But, you know, I was reading this thing, and there were some crazy people who literally paused the scene that the page that the dragon glass or that blade was illustrated on. On the other page, there's like a bunch of paragraphs in writing, and somebody like singled out these lines that says that the dragon glass has the power, like curative powers. It was kind of broken up because you couldn't read it all, but it was saying that they had curative powers. So can Sam fix Jorah's arm?
Interesting. Possibly. I think Sam is definitely going to save him just because of the plot at this point. There's no other way. I mean, why would he go to Old Town if Sam wasn't going to save him, you know?
And the Game of Thrones isn't shy about killing off people. I feel like if he was going to be dead, he would be dead by now. They kind of like keep bringing him back. So I've always loved Jorah, besides him originally betraying Dany. Other than that, you know, he's been a good guy.
A little bit creepy, but...
He is a little creepy. He's in love with, like... He was even more creepy in the books because he's in love with, like, a 13-year-old girl.
That in the books, he was an attractive actor.
Yeah, he was, like, bald. And, like,
yeah, he was...
Didn't look very good.
He was just hairy and bald and unattractive Northman who didn't have a badass voice.
He does have a badass voice, I'll give him that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Citadel...
Which looks badass, by the way.
Yeah, the Citadel is awesome. I love the... I forget what you call them, but the things from the theme song.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what they're called, but the things from the theme song are like actually in the Citadel.
I heard an interesting theory today about the Maesters.
What?
Well, I was talking about how the Archmaester didn't really seem that worried about the White Walkers. I also was reading theories on the internet today about how possibly how the Starks had a pact with the White Walkers to kill the dragons, which is why the Maesters were all worried about, killing, Daenerys and stuff, supposedly, like, secretively in the books and stuff. And possibly that the Maesters knew about the pact between the White Walkers and the Starks, and that possibly the Night King himself is actually a Stark of old.
I have heard that, and I have also heard that the Maesters really, really do not like the dragons because they're, like, afraid of magic or whatever. So yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah. I'm think the only thing we have left to talk about is the very end of the episode. Dany landing on Dragonstone, a moment we've been waiting for if you've been watching the show since season 1 for like 7 years now. So that was awesome to see. It was, I thought there was going to be a little more time spent with her, but I thought that the time that we did have with her was really well done. There wasn't a lot of dialogue at all. It was just, even Tyrion and Missandei and Grey Worm, they were all not saying much. Grey Worm even wanted to kind of like go up and take his place next to her on her throne, but Missandei kind of like held him back, let her appreciate this moment. And then I'm really glad we get to see the Aegon Targaryen Westeros table again that we saw Stannis, Davos, and Melisandre use.
Rest in peace, Stannis, the Manus. Although I do not support burning children at the stake.
Yeah, that was horrible. But, we do get to see this table again. There's a whole new party behind it. We have Tyrion, who's got extensive knowledge of ruling Westeros. He's been all around the country. He knows all the relations, all the houses. We've got Dany, who's just got a ridiculous amount of power behind her at this point. And, the Unsullied, who are, they don't give a fuck. They don't have dicks.
And the Greyjoys, the good ones.
And the good Greyjoys, yes. Yeah. So, yeah.
Also, a quick throwback also is how in last season, Dario told Daenerys how she's not a ruler, she's a conqueror. And in this episode, she walks straight past the throne. She doesn't even sit in the throne. And she walks up to the table of Westeros and says,
"Shall we begin?"
Yes. That was a cool kind of foreshadowing there.
It was.
Although we all knew it would happen, it just she seemed to take it as, straight to heart. For sure.
What do you think our first move is going to be?
Casterly Rock, I think.
I think so too, just because of the
or
previews.
Storm's End, but technically Storm's End would be closest, but yeah.
I have a little theory on how they're going to take Casterly Rock. I'm pretty sure it's going to be right. When Tyrion asked Tywin, for his for his rightful place to be the Lord of Casterly Rock, his Tywin was not down. He said, "You can be the sewer master." Tyrion says that the water never flowed better. So I think his knowledge of the sewer systems is going to give Dany and the Unsullied a way into Casterly Rock and, kind of like surprise them.
Yeah, speaking of which, in the preview, we saw, Grey Worm in a boat, in some sort of like rocky harbor. And we saw like a short 1 or 2 frame shot of like a little tiny cave in the water. So it's like, that's possible. And we also see a scene of the Unsullied opening a castle from the inside. That was all in the previews, as well as we saw a white castle with like white plaster walls with Lannister stuff painted on it. So that has to be the Siege of Casterly Rock happening. And I agree with you, they are going to come in via the sewers and open it from the outside in. Inside out. Sorry.
And what do you think Cersei's reaction to that is going to be?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't react at all because she's been through so much shit. I just don't even know how she would be able to, I don't know how I would react in that situation.
I think she's going to send Jayme.
Send Jayme
to take it over.
To take it back.
And if he does, he does. I don't know. I'm at this point with Jayme. I love him. He's one of my favorite characters, and he has one of the most interesting character arcs. He goes from being a severely hated character in season 1, and now we're almost to the point where he's like the good guy. Like he's one of the good guys now.
Hopefully.
So I feel like, that ending prophecy with Cersei, we saw the first part of it be fulfilled already. All of her kids are dead. And the ending was that she was going to be taken down by the Valonqar. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but in Valyrian, it means little brother. She has 2 little brothers. So either one of them could do it.
Technically, it could be Tyrion.
Yeah.
But it would make more sense to be Jayme.
It would make more sense, but if I've learned anything about Game of Thrones, not everything that makes sense happens. Besides Jon Snow coming back to life.
Oh, yeah. Jon Snow, I mean. Yeah.
All right. Anything else you noticed in the preview for the next episode? We talked about Nymeria returning already, which I really, 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 really hope happens. I was really mad that they killed Summer last season. Summer was like my favorite wolf. And, he did die protecting him, but, he he didn't take down that many whites. I feel like he could have escaped with Mira and Bran.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was more of just a plot decision. Like, it's sad, but it's interesting how they just showed us Nymeria in a preview. They wouldn't just do that.
A wolf. We don't
a
know
wolf. I mean, it has to be Nymeria. Like, who else is it?
Yeah.
They're not just going to show a random wolf, like, in a preview for the next episode.
And where the fuck is Ghost? I haven't seen Ghost in forever.
Ghost is in CGI hell right now. No, Ghost is probably sticking around. Maybe he'll show up now that 1-1's dead. I remember them saying last season they didn't have enough budget to CGI both 1-1 and Ghost into the Battle of the Bastards, considering that they spent $26 million. I believe them. So hopefully we'll see Ghost again. Hopefully we'll see Nymeria. And another thing I noticed in the preview for the next episode, which I said we would talk about, is you see Euron Greyjoy walking into a Lannister town. I'm not sure if it's King's Landing or Casterly Rock. I'm not sure, but he's being cheered by Lannister soldiers. And we also see Sam's dad, Lord Tarly. He comes to King's Landing and talks to Cersei.
I didn't notice that part.
This is a brand new video that they released at Comic-Con.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one yet. That is interesting because I mean the Tarleys were aligned with the
Highgarden
right now. Yeah, they are aligned
the Tyrells,
with
but they're pretty
Tyrells.
much all dead except for Lady Olenna, who technically is a red wine, so she's not really a Tyrell, honestly. By marriage she is, but there's no living Tyrells of blood left.
Just like there's no Martells left either.
So that could bring a whole power struggle to the Reach, which is the biggest and richest kingdom in all of the 7 kingdoms.
And Lord Randall Tarly in the books is like known for his skill on the battlefield. So
yeah, they're also one of the bigger houses too. So they could definitely make a power struggle to be, the paramounts of of the Reach. I could see that.
And depending on which side they choose, I mean, I'd like to see them choose Cersei's side just because I feel like Dany has enough firepower, and Cersei kind of needs some help. But also, she just murdered his liege lord, so it could go either way.
Tarly seems like a very pragmatic guy, so I don't think he's worried about past. I mean, considering he fought with the Targaryens in Robert's rebellion, so.
And he's also missing a Valyrian steel sword.
I don't think he holds any resentments. He's all about power and money.
You don't think he misses that sword?
And trying to be badass. Oh, he totally does. I would.
Let's talk about Valyrian steel just before we end this. There's not many left. We've got Longclaw. We've got that blade, which is unnamed, I think.
It's called the cat's paw, but that's... You're talking about the dagger, right?
Yes, the dagger.
We'll just call it the cat's paw blade.
And then we have the Tarly sword. I forget what that one is called as well.
Heartsbane.
Heartsbane, that's right.
Then we have Oathkeeper, Brienne's sword.
Oathkeeper. I've also heard that Widow's Wail is still somewhere. I've heard that Jayme
I think Jayme has it in episode 1. He has it.
Yeah. So Brienne has, the first one, which were both forged from Eddard Stark's sword, Ice.
Oathkeeper, yeah. Oathkeeper and Widow's Wail. Forged from ice.
Too bad Joffrey sucks at naming swords because Widow's Wail is retarded.
Also in the books, Lyn Corbray from the Vale has a Valyrian steel greatsword, and Lord Harlaw of the Iron Islands, he has a Valyrian steel blade as well. So those are 2 more blades. Those are the only known blades that I'm aware of in all of Westeros right now. Now, supposedly, the Three-Eyed Raven had Dark Sister, which is the ancestral blade of House Targaryen, which is also Valyrian steel.
Did not know that one. But yeah, so they're going to have to definitely make work with all that dragon glass. I think we did see in the previews, we saw Davos and Jon saddling up to head somewhere. I think they're heading to Dragonstone. They're going to get a raven from Sam.
Hopefully via White Harbor, my favorite house and area. Also the biggest and only harbor in all of the North.
Manderley's, right?
Yeah, Manderley hype.
No, you've been stoked for the Mand release for a while. Didn't get that much of them last season.
I know, because they gave all the awesome shit to the Mormonts that the Manderleys did. And actually, Lady Mormont, her character is actually in the book. She's a Manderley.
Really
Yeah.
interesting. All right, so I think that might just wrap it about up.
Yeah.
Overall, what would you rate this episode?
I'd rate this episode a solid 8 out of 10.
I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 9. I thought it was an awesome first episode. We got all the action in the beginning, with Arya murdering the fuck out of House Frey. And, after that, it was kind of all exposition, but that's to be expected from an episode 1. You got to set everything up before it can all fall down.
Right.
But yeah, until we have a couple more days until the new episode, we will do another review of that one as well. If you liked this episode, let us know in the comments. Let us know what you want to hear. We're always open to new ideas on what to talk about. So if you guys have any questions or anything, especially when the newer episode comes out, tell us. We'll try to cover it on our new episode of the Podrick Paynecast.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week, and enjoy the episode.